2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're good.
Well, we're missing,
I guess.
we're missing one or two people, but who?
Let's see. 2, 3. That.
Do we know about Steve?
No, we
No.
don't know about Steve.
He requested a packet, but
Yeah. So you may,
You wanna buzz him?
why would you put all of it?
Missing Steve and Steve and Ken.
Yeah. Well, it's 1:30. Let's get started.
yep,
We'll call the meeting to order at 1:31. Looks like we have a quorum. So with that, let's go to members speaking. Jill, you're on.
Thank you. Is this okay if I stand here? Can you on Zoom hear me if I talk from here, or do you want me to come up there so you can see me?
Yes.
I could hear you.
You can hear her?
Hold on.
Thank you, guys.
Oh,
You want a mic?
I don't need a mic.
Okay.
I'll speak loudly and clearly.
Second.
Rick, does she need a mic?
I don't know.
Thanks, Sam.
Break and breeze.
Hard of hearing these days. I need a hearing aid.
There she is. Okay.
Well, thank you for letting me speak. I'm here not just as a homeowner and resident of Sterling Oaks, but also as chairman of the activities committee. And I just wanted to address 3 of the items that are on the agenda for today as new business. The first one that I think concerns pretty directly the activities committee and some of our responsibilities and things that fall within our purview is the motion to give tennis members back the access to food and beverage and events. And I want you to know that this is something that we have discussed many times in the activities committee, in our meetings, and I don't know, I can't think off the top of my head unanimously, but pretty close to unanimously, everybody on the activities committee is in favor of this. It provides additional revenue, especially during season for the food and beverage operations. It also is something that new tennis members who are coming in and requesting membership is kind of an expectation that if I'm a member of a tennis club, that I will have access to those kinds of amenities. So in the past year or so, finding out that that wasn't the case has deterred a few people from joining Sterling Oaks. So this is a positive membership incentive, and which also then contributes to Sterling Oaks revenue, because the more members we have, the more dues that they're paying into the club. So again, the activities committee is totally in favor of this new business item. Secondly, in regards to the motion that is up for discussion today about homeowners making reservations and versus non-resident tennis members making reservations and having different timelines for those things. As activities committee chairman, I just want to tell you that this is also something that we have discussed many times in our meetings. And actually, before I was even on the committee, this had come up for discussion. So this is something that's been around for quite a while. The activities committee has been advised by the Sterling Oaks lawyer that this is probably not legal, that you can't have separate sets of rules for different groups of people. If you are a dues paying member, whether it's a homeowner or a non-resident member, if you pay dues, you have access and you all follow the same rules, which includes being able to sign up for events on the same day. I can tell, so again, we've been advised legally that this is something that we should not pursue. We actually, as a committee, also are all in favor of everyone being able to sign up at the same time. It's been noted before that, and it's actually on today's agenda as an item, that the community Sterling Oaks has published a brochure. And this is the second time we've published it. It came out in October, late October. For the entire season, it lists all of the events that are coming up during season this year. It's available in a print form, it's available online, it's available through the app. We have a social calendar on the app and on the website, and all of the events are on there. So there are multiple ways, and then in addition to that, we have the weekly emails that are sent out by the staff that alert everybody what is coming up. So there is multiple ways that all members can find out what things are coming up, and certainly then plan 2 weeks in advance to know this is the date that I can sign up for things. I should be putting it on my calendar because that's an event I really want to attend. So there's really no excuse for people saying, gee, I waited until 3 days before and then it was sold out. That's not the community's fault, I don't think. We're doing, communications is very good on that. I also wanted to point out that for something like the Welcome Back event, which is usually where this topic comes up as a concern, the Welcome Back event is the goal is always to hold it outside and accommodate as many people as we possibly can. That's a big space that we have out there on the lawn, and it's wonderful. However, when we're planning for this and when Nicole begins accepting reservations for this particular event, she has to plan for the eventuality that it might get rained out and we have to hold it inside, which severely limits the number of reservations that she can accept, because the capacity for fire code reasons inside the dining room is much smaller. Once she's able to confirm that we, in fact, are going to have great weather and we're going to have it outside, she takes people off the wait list and she accommodates as many people as she possibly can. So, again, I understand people get frustrated when they're all of a sudden on a wait list, but there are capacity issues and there are planning issues for that. And that's why that happens. On another note, in regards to that, to this particular item, the committee feels that it's unfair to penalize, kind of like we're talking about with just overall access to food and beverage. It's unfair to penalize members who are paying dues. And in fact, non-resident tenants members pay a higher due for their membership than resident tenants members, and that's meant to cover the other amenities like food and beverage and events. So it's unfair to penalize them and say, no, you can't have access to those amenities. So perhaps if we need to consider anything for something like the Welcome Back event that is always sold out, we could potentially consider no outside non-member guests. So you can come if you're a member, if you're a homeowner, if you're a resident, if you're a non-resident tennis member, but we're not going to allow somebody to bring 10 non-dues paying member guests to an event like that. So that is the opinion of the activities committee. And then the final point that I want to address is back gate access. And again, it's proposed on the agenda today to deny non-resident tennis members access to Sterling Oaks through the back gate. And first of all, I don't understand why this is an issue. There are not that many cars coming through Sterling Oaks. I know that in season, it gets busy. Everybody gets busy. It was pointed out in the agenda that in January and February, there were 850 non-resident gate accesses during that time period. It's season, everything's busy. We all know that. You can't get a reservation in a restaurant anywhere in Naples during season. So I think it's something that we just all kind of have to live with. This also negatively impacts, if we did this, impacts staff, because staff has barcodes potentially that are the same as non-resident tennis members. So we would have to make a point there to take care of that. In terms of there being traffic on Sterling Oaks Drive, everybody, including commercial vehicles, can still exit through the back gate. So it's not going to limit that amount of traffic. There's still going to be traffic going down the street to get out the back gate, including all the trucks and other commercial vehicles. So I think that this is a solution in search of a problem that really doesn't exist. I totally understand that, everyone, all residents, all members have, a right to bring up a concern or a complaint or a question. But I don't think that the board necessarily needs to jump through hoops to accommodate every single question. This is probably something that the vast majority of people here, if you actually took a poll, would say is a non-issue. Why are you even talking about this? So this is more my personal opinion. Obviously, we haven't had a chance to talk about this in the activities committee, but again, it does affect, things that the activities committee plans. So I hope that the, board of directors will take advantage of this. And I hope that, when things like this come up again, that the executive committee, rather than just all of a sudden putting it on the agenda, would maybe reach out to the activities committee. That we're there to advise and comment on issues. As I pointed out, these are things that we already have discussed, and before these actually got put on a board agenda, we could have advised you as to how these things have been discussed in the past. So please use your committees. We're here, all of the committees are here for the board of directors and the executive committee's use. And we would love to give you advice and comments. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other members speaking?
No, before you move on, now there's an iPad that joined via Zoom. Is that anybody special?
Is that Ken?
Yes.
It is
Thank
Ken.
you.
He's on mute too.
At
Okay,
least I can see his face.
let the minutes reflect that we have everyone present. And let's carry on to secretary's report. Lucy.
Good afternoon. Did Steve join then?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, there he is. Jeez. Okay. All right. Put a motion forward to approve the minutes from the board meeting of November 21st, 2024.
Do I have a second?
Sure.
Steve seconds. All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. There is no president's report today. Let's move to the general manager's report.
The board has my report in front of you, so this is for the benefit of the large crowd that's here today to witness this board meeting and for the millions that are on YouTube across the world. So holiday season's here and a month brings a close to 2024 and we're looking forward to 2025. It's a very happy new year. We look forward to it. When I was a kid and I was looking forward, think about when you were our age back in the day and you said 2020, it seems like such a long time to be. I wonder if I'll be around when it's, you hear about this. And now we're 2025. It seems like it's gone by so fast. It's amazing. I never thought I'd be here. Anyways, so seasonal influx reminder, the more residents and guests that begin to arrive for the season, please be aware that the roads will be busier than usual. Expect to see more cars, more vendors, bicycles, people walking their pets, and daily walkers getting their steps in. Please slow down, stop at the stop signs, pick up after your pets, and always be mindful of your neighbors. And thank you for keeping our community safe and pleasant for everybody. We always get the calls during season for speeding, dog walking that doesn't pick up, people that are running the stop sign and almost hitting bicycles. I hope that, we can just try to work on that without putting in more speed humps and bumps to try to slow people down. We may end up having to put one more down in Sanctuary Point because for some reason we put a speed hump down there on one side of the road and everybody goes around it on the other side, blows through the stop sign and has almost hit 3 or 4 people down towards the back gate going out. Guests and vendors, make sure that you either call in, use the app, register your guests or vendors with the gatehouse. Security personnel are under strict instructions to monitor access and cannot accept phone calls or verbal notifications at the gatehouse. This type of interruption takes away from the responsibility of processing the continuous flow of vehicles that are out there. If your guest or vendor is not on the permanent list, please use the designated call-in or app feature to register them in advance. Permanent guest lists cannot be modified until the first week of May. And this isn't for, this is going out there to all the people that are going to hopefully watch this on YouTube. We're going to have to remind everybody all through the season about that. Parking lots, tennis courts, bocce courts, main pool, fitness center, and soon the pickleball courts will become busier with residents enjoying all that Sterling Oaks has to offer. And we ask that you familiarize yourself with the access procedures for these amenities. Pool and fitness, there's guidelines and times for the pool to be accessed. Tennis, that's through Chelsea to make sure that you get your court times. Pickleball is Team Reach, will be to your go-to resource. And bocce, we're going to be putting out a lot of sign-up information for bocce. We expect that to be another completely full crew of 168 to 170 plus individuals playing bocce again this year. And now that we have the pergolas and the courts in shape, Rick Manoni has made sure everything is just ready to go down there. So for detailed information, be sure to check the Sterling Oaks app, our online and printed brochures, and the website. And should you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to contact the office. We'll provide you with any information that you need. Seasonal calendar is packed, and I do mean it's packed. Thank you. Activities committee packed with a variety of events offering something for everyone. New fall and winter brochure is a great starting point. Thank you, Cezanne, for putting that together. You can explore events online via the website or Sterling Oaks app or on your mobile device. And we have that printed brochure, which seems to be going out pretty well. And as Jill said, it's all right there. Popular activities and food and beverage events tend to sell out quickly. Make sure your reservation is made as soon as possible. Typically, it's 2 weeks in advance. And once an event reaches capacity, a wait list will be started. Most outdoor events have the ability to accommodate larger numbers of attendees, so don't hesitate to join in the fun. I've got more stuff, but I'm going to wait until new business. I'll give you some updates on other parts of the agenda.
Okay, any questions of Mark? Okay. With that, let's go to treasurer's report. John Mulligan, please.
All right, it's still early in the month, so we don't have our financials yet, but we have a couple items we want to go over. One is I make a motion to suspend the following members as described in Sterling Oaks collection policy and refer the account to our attorney to pursue all legal remedies if available, if not current by January 1st, 2025. S0063 and S0093.
I need a second to that motion. Rick, thank you. Any questions, any discussion?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Shannon, is that Sanctuary Point the same, was that member on the last meeting list also?
Yes,
In other words, is this the second month that one's been on there?
yes.
Same person as it's always been.
Makes a little bit of a
Does that-
payment to stay out of
We've already
the,
voted to do that.
makes a little bit of payment to stay out of the 90-day window. So then now if he,
Oh,
on January
okay.
1st, if he makes it
So
to
it
the
makes.
90-day
so
window,
back on it,
then
okay. I was
he'll
just
probably be
wondering-
there for the
I
rest.
was wondering
of the
how it was
time.
only 2 months if we hadn't done something.
We're probably going to ask at some point in time that maybe we move up
Okay,
30-day period to
okay.
get somewhere with some of these people.
If we stay within the new law,
Yes.
Of course.
right? And maybe we should do that sooner rather than later.
After the new year, I will contact Jim and his awesome finance committee to see if we can update this collection policy.
Yeah.
Probably a good idea.
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion? With that, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. 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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, John,
Okay, the second one is, thing we should be doing every year. It's the IRS regulation. I'll just read it and, whereas Sterling Oaks Community Association Club, Inc. is a Florida corporation duly organized and existing under the laws of state of chapter 617. And whereas the board of directors on behalf of its members desire that the corporation shall act in full accordance with the rulings and regulations of the IRS. Now therefore, the board of directors on behalf of its members hereby adopt the following resolution by and on behalf of the Sterling Oaks Community Association and Club, Inc. Resolved that any excess of membership income over membership expenses for the year ended December 31st, 2024 shall be applied against the subsequent tax year member assessments as provided by IRS Revenue Ruling 70-604. This resolution is adopted and made a part of the minutes of the meeting of 12/19/2024. That's it.
are you making a motion? Are you looking for a motion?
Yeah, that was a motion.
Yeah, I made the motion to accept that resolution.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, you got it?
Mhm.
Okay, any discussion?
I'll
Any
just
com-
say what this is done every year. And what it does is we put at the year end, all the monies, good or bad, gets rolled over to our retained earnings and we keep our retained earnings up. So like this year, we use 50,000 of that to reduce our assessments for this year. For 75 for 2024 and 50 for 2025.
Oh, John, repeat that so everyone in the audience can hear that one more time.
Yes. The results of 2024 and every year will be rolled over to what's called retained earnings. That is the accumulation of our results since we started as a community. And then like this year, we used $75,000 of that excess funds to reduce our assessments. In 2025, we're using 50,000 of that to reduce our assessments. And
Very
2 years
good.
ago, we used 100,000 of that to reduce our assessments.
I
It
have a
depends on
question.
how we do each year.
Okay, Lindy and then Browning.
I'm just gonna say, and John, the purpose of that is it reduces our interest that we have to pay.
No, it's no interest in, what do you mean by, we're not paying any interest?
On the money we borrowed for the assessment, we're not paying any interest.
This has nothing to do with the irrigation assessment.
Okay, so when you're
Yeah.
talking assessment, you're not talking what a lot of people think
Dues.
assessment.
Your dues.
Okay,
The monthly dues.
I don't do this.
that's what I'm, okay, good. So that's what it went for,
Yes,
to reduce monthly dues. Thank you.
Browning.
My question is, if I read that literally, John, let's say in 2023, let's say our excess, what we underran, the excess was maybe 100,000. But we only apply 50,000 to the next year. Does that, if we don't apply the full amount that we actually have excess, are we really doing this? In other words, I've always wanted us to apply the total, like this year, if we underrun 100,000, I'd like to see the 100,000 reduce assessments for next year, the whole amount. You tended to use a lower number every year, so I question if that's technically right, given this wording.
Yes, what we're doing, Brownie, is we want to keep a certain amount in our retained earnings for years, like we had 2 years ago when we had the hurricane expense. The experts say we should have a couple months worth of money in our cash to be able to pay all our bills if something happened. So by
But
keeping our retained earnings at a certain level, we are therefore reducing our assessments. We want to keep our retained earnings at X and we're below X, we would have to increase our assessment to get to X.
Okay,
Go ahead.
okay. I understand that, and we always have a cash excess to do that. But if you take this word literally, it says it has to be applied to reduce the assessments, not to be put into account in case we underrun some month. That isn't what this says. And that's what I'm questioning, if that logic is really consistent with this IRS ruling. And I think we need to have that reviewed.
Brownie, we have this reviewed and audited every single year. They've looked at it, our
We've been
attorneys
doing
looked at it,
every
and
year.
our auditors looked at it.
Don't interrupt him. Let him finish.
Yeah, please, Brownie, let me finish talking as usual, okay? As I said, we get audited every year. Okay, we have our outside accountant every year look at this. It is within the law. It's within the rules.
Okay, that answers the question.
We can,
Well,
we can
To the
specifically
extent
ask,
that we can answer it, that's the answer.
but we can
Have we
ask.
ever had, I know the auditor is kind of our person, we pay it, it's not full. Have we ever explored that in more detail with the tax
We can always,
expert?
The
we can
external
always
auditor.
ask.
This came directly from. the
Make a note to
auditor.
ask the external auditor.
Yeah, we'll ask them.
John, question?
Have that.
Can do that.
But I mean, this wording would say it's all applied to the assessment.
Let's find
But
out.
if it's 122,000, we have to apply 122,000. That's what this wording says.
Let's find out.
We'll check it out with the external auditor. John Coyle.
I had a question for John. So what we're talking about, our cash reduction this year was 566. So, after hearing Brownie, our cash reduction would be about $11. We're going to talk about $11 here.
What, I'm not
Cash
sure your
reduction,
question. Or-
cash reduction this year was $5.66 per
Okay,
unit.
that's because we use excess funds that we had prior. Yes,
Right. So if we used all the money Brownie's talking about, would it be $11?
No, we would probably have to increase the dues because I don't think we're gonna end 2024 on a good note.
yeah, so actually, we're probably not gonna have excess funds in 2024. It's just if we do. So we're actually gonna eat into a retained earning. So if we did what Brownie wants us to do every year, give more of it back, then we're gonna have to increase it the following year. We don't want it to be a yo-yo.
Got it. Okay, that answers my question.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. We've had sufficient discussion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Okay.
Okay,
That's it For
John,
me,
anything else? You're all set?
yep, that's it for me.
Let's go to committee reports. We'll start with the one and only activities.
Right. So just before I give the report, I just want to mention something that has to do with the activities report, but it also has to do with, when we get into, our final report, consider about the survey. So I made a list of the ways you can find out about what's going on in Sterling Oaks. There's a TV channel. There are flyers on the front, back, and the condo mailbox areas. There are email blasts. There's a printed magazine in the lobby, a calendar for the whole year. There's a digital calendar on your Sterling Oaks website where you can make reservations. There's a stand in the lobby where you can scan the code and put that digital calendar right on your phone. There's a TV in the lobby showing all the coming activities and events. There's my board report monthly, which is live at the board meetings and on YouTube. There's communications that have meet and greet and information sessions about the activities. We had 2 in 2024, and there's 1 scheduled for season. So my point is, there are so many ways to know what's coming to make a reservation that it's almost crazy. And secondly, when people say they don't know about anything going on in the community, that they never heard of this or that, to me, it's breathtaking that you couldn't know with all those ways. I think the board has done such a fabulous job myself and the communications committee of advertising everything. So I'm just astounded at that.
Well, it's the old adage, you can lead a horse to water,
Yeah, I guess.
but that's human nature, I guess. So I guess we have to try harder.
I know, I don't know what you can do. I guess maybe get a bullhorn and ride around the community. Anyway,
I have one suggestion that I think some of the confusion, if there, I've never experienced, but if there is an issue about sign update and thing became full, okay? All of those things don't have the sign update. So they should also indicate the sign update on all of those. If we're gonna have 10 different ways, it can actually work against us.
so
Okay,
maybe we need to advertise that sign up day is 2 weeks for everything except the New Year's Eve party and
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day,
the concerts
4
are
weeks,
not 2 weeks either.
2 weeks.
No, the concert,
Well, there's a package sold early.
It's in the brochure on the website.
no, I'm not saying it's not there. I think if you check all of those, it's not on every one of them.
Well,
So-
no.
All right, Lynn, carry on, please.
Okay, I see what you're saying, Bonnie. Okay, so please refer to the online calendar to see upcoming events. There are many exciting activity events. 12/31, the New Year's Eve celebration dinner and dance will enchant you with an enchanted forest theme, good food and drink, plus some good music. January 5th, Cabana will be open 7 days a week.
31 days to go.
Also, there's a pool party with entertainment on the 5th. On the 7th, go give blood. There's a blood drive in the club parking area. On the 7th of January is the first pub night of the season at the club bar and dining room. On the 8th of January is girls' night out, games and giggles at the club. January 9th, get acquainted with Sterling Oaks. For new and current members, learn about our amenities, get helpful tips to help you navigate the gate access, the expert landscaping portal, and other useful information. On the 14th, book club. The book is Foster by Claire Gagan. January 15th is Elvis Night at the club. Get your reservation ASAP. All I can say is we are all shook up. You've got to be old to know that one. January 17th, 24th, 31st, Friday dining with music. On the 18th, there's a pool party with music. On the 20th, it's pizza at Zeppi's. Mention Sterling Oaks and Zeppi's will donate 10% of the bill to our legacy fund, which is our scholarship. On the 21st, there's cornhole on the back lawn. The 22nd, another welcome back bocce party. 25th, Davis Cup tennis round robin. And the 27th is our Aging Well event. Come to the club from 11:30 to 1:30 and get all the information. Concludes my report.
Any questions of Linda? If not, let's move on to project updates. We'll start with the irrigation project. We had a project team of Ken, John, Rick, and Mark. So who's going to take the lead on this one? Mark, go ahead.
So the baseline system, the control system is in. And Russ Geiger came by today and gave me a packet for you folks that are on TV. Let's see if I can get around right here.
Oh, you have to go by Paul.
So anyways, well, geez. So anyway, I'll show you folks here. This is kind of like what he gave us is a map of the community. And each of these little dots on here are the valves that control each of the areas within the community, whether or not it's at a house or in common areas along the roadways. And so these are the actual, and they're numbered. So all the valves are on there. The red line is actually where the power line, the control wire is. It does not have the pipes in the ground because those are still a mystery. We know where some of them are, but We didn't do anything with the pipes, we only did it with the control wire. So that is, he gave us that, and he also gave us this map, and the map here, which is a wall map, has the entire community on it, which has all of the same information as in the book. And the reason we have this is from the baseline system. If Rick's house, and he calls up and he says, I haven't seen any water at my house in like 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know what's going on. I can actually log into the baseline system from my office, go to the valve that's adjacent to his on the map, and find out and hit that valve on my baseline system in my office. It'll bring up when the last time it ran, how long it ran, how many gallons per minute ran in that area, so that we can track and see whether or not there's what water usage is at the time, the date, etc. So the baseline system is cataloging that information for the irrigation water system throughout the community. I'm going to have to get a little more training on the actual website because it is fairly detailed in nature, and but it does have that information. It has an interactive map that's attached with it as well. So it should be able to give our landscaping crews better access to manage that system. This goes for the coach homes and condos as well. That we have given the various landscapers that are out there, whether it's Down to Earth, Four Seasons, Earth Care. I think there might be another one. We've given their supervisors the login information to access the wet checks for the valves in their area. So when they want to go in, they can log in, turn on their various buildings and check to see whether or not the water's working. We can also go behind that and see that what they've done and how long the water's run. We can really monitor the whole system. So in reality, they've done a good job and completed the task that they were asked to do. We're happy with the product, and the more that we get to use it, I think the more familiar we'll be with it as time goes by. So like we down in your section where, you know, it's in that corner, we can go and check when that valve was on, how many minutes it ran, you know, on what days, to see what's going on with that.
Is there a map? Is that included on the map?
It's in that valve that runs that station is.
It's in there.
Yes.
It might be good to make copies of that and actually give a book to expert and to each of them. In other words, it's one thing to give them information, but it'd be good to copy that book and give it to.
I have a second book that expert will have.
Although,
The condo people don't need the whole book because it's for the whole
yeah,
community,
but
but
you might make copies of the individual pages and give each.
if I can get it to the management companies, they may be able to give
Yeah,
it to their.
because
who they've
that's
got,
a
so.
lot more easy to work with than.
Pretty cool. Anyways, that's the information on the irrigation project.
Any questions of Mark?
Oh, we still haven't paid them yet either.
That's okay.
So we're just hanging on to that.
Yeah, good.
We
Good
paid
job.
them a lot.
We
Good
paid them a
job.
lot.
Good job.
Okay, move along. Pickleball courts, who's taking that, John or Cezanne or both of you?
I'll give an update. So with the pickleball court construction next week, weather permitting, the surfacing will begin. Fast Dry will be surfacing all 5 courts. Note that painting the outdoor exposed surfaces cannot be completed in the rain, a high dew point, or even cold weather in like the 50s or below. After the surfacing is complete, there's a 7-day cure period. During that cure period, the divider fencing, net post nets will be installed. The relocated shade structure will also be installed, and we'll do a final walkthrough and punch lists before the courts are reopened. We are hopeful for an opening date of January 13th, but please understand the crew must finish the jobs in line before us before they can relocate the crew to us. Example, the surfacing crew was rained on a couple of days this week at their current job in another location in Florida. So we're hopeful that this did not affect our timeline, but if we get any more rainy days or very cold days, we could be affected.
How often are we in touch with them?
every single day.
Twice a day. And multiple people actually hit Fast Drive. So.
Good, let's make it 3 times a day. Okay, any questions about where we are with the pickleball project?
Mark?
I have a question about pickleball in general. It's how do we control, I'm not familiar with this team breach. How do we control that anyone on the pickleball court is a resident or non-resident that has an old one that has it? How do we actually monitor that?
Well, we ask that the members are utilizing the reservation system through our website. We do have the pickleball committee that kind of police things when they can, or myself or Mark will go down there as needed if we feel that somebody's not supposed to be on the courts that are down there.
But we
also have
really
the
don't
cameras.
have a system that monitors it like in tennis where we know who's on the court.
No, we do not have a full staff to watch the pickleball courts daily 24/7. We do not have access control readers or any of that such installed at the pickleball courts.
But is it true that we're confident that the pickleball community are self-policing? And
I
to date,
believe
we
that
have
the
not had
majority of
any
them do
issue.
self-police and they're
I
doing
would
things.
agree. I agree with
We
Suzanne.
are confident.
Right. Okay, any other questions
John
on
had a question.
who?
John Coyle.
Paul, before I go, I have a doctor's appointment that I scheduled months ago, so I want to read this before I left. By proxy, I am giving John Mulligan my permission to vote on my behalf the motions made in this meeting today. That's for the record.
I believe that we can do such.
Okay,
Hoping to be a moot point.
It may be moved.
yeah.
I
If
didn't
it's moot,
understand
doesn't matter. Lawyer said I should do that, I did it.
what you read, state, I didn't understand that.
He's giving John Mulligan a proxy for any future vote that might come up in this meeting between now and the end of the meeting.
Thank you.
Can we do that?
We don't believe
We
we
don't
can.
know.
I don't-
We may not, this
Mark
may be
says
a moot,
no.
I
this
don't,
may
I
be a
don't think
moot
so.
point. We may
I
not
don't.
need to anyway, so,
Well, if it comes to a brownie, we'll let the judge decide.
There you go.
I
right.
mean, I've been on the board 7 years. I've never seen it done a single time. If someone's not here, they're not here.
Well, we'll deal with that if we have to. I doubt that we will. Okay. Let's move along to community survey.
You want to tell them the date? You never will.
So, a community survey has been given to the board members. And we have also been in contact with Jerry Schoenfeld. Jerry, I asked Jerry, as soon as I got the finished product in my hands, I said, well, when can you come down here to give a presentation to not only us, but to the community that filled it out? And we can YouTube that as well so that people can hear what you have to say. And from an analytical standpoint, he's busy at FGCU because of the beginning of the semesters, and also trying to fit him into our packed-in calendar is a little tough too. I told the board that the 13th is the first day that he can be on property. On Monday, the 13th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He says he'll be here for about an hour, hour and a half to present, and then he can answer questions as well. I would hope that we've got that booked on our calendar. We looked at Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. There's just so much going on in the month of, as Linda attributes to, just talked about. We couldn't get him in any of those days. So Monday, the 13th, he'll be here to go over the survey and answer questions as well
At 1 o'clock.
at 1 o'clock.
Both surveys.
Yes.
Is this
Okay.
just for the board or is this for the community?
For everybody.
Okay, thank you.
So in the interim between that time period, I think that we should be able to make the survey accessible since it's a club document.
It will be part of the
It'll be
minutes.
part of this minutes and it'll be out for all individuals to peruse and take a look at, and then they can be here on the 13th if they've got questions as well.
Okay. So any old business? I have a question I missed on the pickleball thing.
Mhm.
There's a shade structure that's down
Correct.
right now. Is there a chance we can refurbish that while it's down?
Get a new,
No, just spray it or,
Clean it up.
yeah.
I can ask.
Yeah, we can put some,
And this would be a perfect time since it's down to take care of that. It's faded.
Yeah.
This would be a good time to
I'll
revitalize.
ask Zach to do that.
But it won't fix the fading.
Well, but we can clean it up and make sure that it's,
Okay.
it's better than it is.
Make it look new.
I'll try.
Well, I could do that if I can have a little money to spend.
We can a little bit.
We can ask.
We're putting enough into that project.
You are.
It all ought to look new.
I think we'll plant, you won't see it once it's relocated by the tree, so.
I'll get them to clean it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Question, Paul,
Yes.
are we not discussing the survey at all today then?
It's not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda. On the 13th, Jerry will come in and offer as much rationalization to the instrument as can be done. There are a lot of questions. We felt that would be best if he presents his instrument as he composed it, and he can explain it. Rather than try to get into it today, I think it would be pretty muddy.
Okay, and by the way, I do see community survey on the agenda for the people said it's not on there, but anyway, okay.
Well, if you have comments and you
No,
want
no, it's fine. I just was curious, that's all. I do have
Yeah,
one comment, but we
this-
wait till the 13th.
Rick has a good point. It would probably take half a day to. That's why we're dedicating a full day with Jerry coming in so we can all talk about it in more detail. Lucy,
I was under the impression that we were going to go through it, so just to back John up there. But I do have a question specifically because I do have a committee that's assigned to the fitness amenities. Should we hold off on meeting before the 13th, or should we get together again and put together our proposal?
well, my recommendation is the 13th isn't that far away. Number one. Number two, it's complicated.
Mhm.
And if we can take as much of that complication away through Jerry making his presentation, I think that would be better. And I think you have a smoother meeting after his presentation.
Okay, I'll just let my team know that that's the next step. So thank you for that.
Okay,
I have a question.
Lynn,
When does the agenda go out
Has,
to everybody?
has to be posted at least 48 hours prior to the meeting.
48 hours.
That's mandated.
That's by Florida law.
That's a law.
And now we have to include any like documents. So those documents that I had at that point, like what you guys got in your packet is also posted.
Okay, so is that typical of organizations to only give you 48 hours?
That's Florida
that's
law.
the Florida law.
Yeah, but it can be more than that.
Yes, but not,
Yeah,
no offense.
Not
You
less.
guys changed the agenda
Well,
at
you
the
could-
49th hour.
It's changed at 47.5 hours. There's stuff added to this and taken away.
We're lucky I can get it posted
Yeah.
at 48 and it sticks.
Because I will tell you, that seems like a very short time if you're not on the board, say, because I look for that to see what the agenda is. But if you're a resident and to decide if you want to speak about what's on the agenda, it just seems like such a short time. And like.
a few years
this
ago,
is
there was no
100
time.
pages to read in just a few days. I mean.
But it's an
I-
evolving
why?
document, so you do it any earlier, it's not gonna be complete. You know what I mean? So I hear what you're saying, but
I mean, I
also you
try to,
can't do it.
I give you guys, I mean, I asked you guys for reports before I need the reports because you guys never get me the reports by the time I need them.
Notice
No.
it's not.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
I told Mark, Lydia's not holding me up. It's
That's
Mark that held me up this week.
Anyway, okay, I'm
And
curious.
I just think
the
things are,
board is going to be meeting 2 or 3 times a month otherwise. Because if you extend that deadline out, you're always missing the deadline. And why didn't we get that in? You have to move
It's a
it to
good
the
point,
next
but it's not
month's
pretty.
meeting. So when that
Oh,
happens,
And a
you'll
lot of
have
times we don't
2,
make the
3 meetings a
decision on
month.
the.
Right,
I hear what you're saying, but it's
but
not.
I can see why we don't have too many members speaking, because probably by the time they read that email, the meeting's over.
Well, I don't know, on some of the items that, some of these are carryovers from the
Yes, I
meeting before.
understand.
And I think that, so that's where it gave Jill an opportunity to speak on something that she was gonna talk about. I think with new business here, the community survey, even though somebody might have said, oh, well, we have the community survey, I want to talk
Right.
about it. No action by the board probably would be taken on that kind of a volume until down the road.
Right.
but
So
also the
there's plenty
community
of
survey
time.
isn't posted as of this moment to the community. That was handed to you guys first, and it'll be a part of the minutes.
Part of the minutes,
I
right?
understand that.
And based on your earlier soliloquy,
Thank you.
it's posted and there was a time period, but are people tuned into that? Well, we can't force them to.
Well, it's 2 days. It's
Yeah.
30 now.
I would love to have.
Let's
it
move
ready.
on.
We try to do it a lot faster then.
Maybe a note out that under Florida law, this is required and people understand that we're not just, pull a number
Yeah.
there. And that, should you wish to present something, this is where we are on a monthly basis.
Was that a comment in the survey?
No,
Oh, okay.
No, it's-
No, but I have heard that comment from people, just I didn't even know it was on the agenda.
Or you can
Or I
marry.
wouldn't.
true.
Well, okay.
Speaking
Let's-
of people, talking and stuff, Lindy's trying to get more people to talk, which is fine, but is there a limit of how long they can talk?
Yes,
Minutes.
I think
Not
it's 3 minutes.
Okay, we should remember that then. Okay, thank you.
Lydia, we heard you say that. We're holding you to that.
Okay, let's move along. No old business, new business, tennis only members, access to F&B. John, you brought it up at the last meeting. Why don't you make a proposal?
Okay, I make a motion that new tennis members, part of the membership, they get F&B access.
I'll second it.
Okay, well, if you read look under new business there, John, that under A, there's a motion there because it has not only that, but it has dining, the cabana and events.
All
Well,
right,
I mean,
here we go. Okay, I'll make a motion that allow all tennis members to have access to dining, cabana, and events effective immediately. Okay.
Okay, you second?
I second.
I have a
I'd like to thank the executive committee for putting this here. I think it's gonna right a wrong that we've had. We're going to get the opportunity to maybe contact some of these people who decided not to join because they weren't getting amenities. As you know, I'm all about revenue, and I think this is the way that we're gonna increase some revenue. And it also is going to heal some divisions where some people felt like they were maybe second-class citizens, that they weren't getting the food and beverage where the other grandfathered in people were. Thank you for this. I'm certainly gonna vote for it.
Okay, any other discussion? Lucy?
I have a question. Are we going to be able to limit access or particularly to the fitness center? I think is where there might be some question. Because if there's.
Yes, we will continue. We have a ruling in place and that will remain in effect.
yes, we can control on the access, control access points, like the pool gates today and the fitness center, what type of membership status works where. So we'll be able to make sure that that status still is not working at the fitness stores.
Perfect.
Ken
Thank you.
Swallow. Ken,
The question I have is on events. I'm not sure that the community as a whole wants any more access for people to events. As far as the food and beverage, that's, you know, a moneymaker. The events, if we close out members, owners, I'm not sure that's a good thing to do, to extend it to events.
Uh, yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why I think that given the members or residents that live here and own everything 48 hours before the other one. So that's why I think those two go hand in hand with each other. That will prevent
But
them from.
the only problem is we're presenting this prior to presenting the next item.
Okay.
I think we're ahead of ourselves if we give them privileges immediately to events and then turn around and say, now you got to have 2 days. And, some people aren't here. And, yes, we publish the events, but I don't think everybody understands that they're going to have 2 days. And 2 days is not a long period of time.
2 days.
Yes, it is.
It's 12 days.
Lucy,
Not 2 days.
Thought we couldn't,
2 days.
separate,
President get 2 days.
and give privilege to the owners versus the tennis members. I think that's what, Jill presented earlier on in terms of what they got legal advice on, or did I miss something?
I don't think that legal advice is true today, personally.
right, that's in question.
Okay,
Yes, you got to
Okay.
double check on that one.
fair enough. The other thing that was mentioned was, the revenue that comes from the membership, the tennis membership. I know there's a rub in general with the tennis membership, but they do bring money into the community. And I think, based on what we've seen, and I think what did we say, Suzanne, last meeting, there was a drop in membership year over year, of non-members, 31 memberships.
Yes, I think when we had the EC meeting, it was around that 30 to 40
30.
mark
Right.
that we were reduced from where we were last year.
Right, and the only thing that's changed is that we aren't offering food and beverage, which I think somebody pointed out, and maybe it was Jill, that it is a standard offering at any club that if you play, you eat. So I think we need to think in isolation in terms of what this membership brings to us and what it can help in terms of, paying the bills. So,
John,
Yeah, I brought this up and I think it's a good idea. I mean, if we want to keep tennis where it's at, we have to keep the membership up or increase the membership. If we don't, then something's going to have to change. And I don't think anybody wants that. We have over 100 people who live in Sterling Oaks who play tennis that enjoy it. And that's a good chunk of people, but we should keep it. And I think this will help get us to where we want to be.
okay, I want to come back to Ken. Have we resolved your dilemma?
Not from the people I've talked to in the community, but, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, do we have any other discussion? Linda?
I would just like to add that from April, May through October, November, our tennis members support our club Friday dining. Now, we lose a lot of amenities during the summer months for the people who live here. And I'm not just talking residents, I'm talking about 12-month residents. It's very hot. There's a lot of things you can't do with the heat. We've had very few events. There are no big soirees going on during the summer. It's pretty quiet here. And Friday night dining is, you know, tough. There's a lot of good 2-for-1 coupons out there in the other restaurants. And we should appreciate the group that comes here year round and helps keep our dining room open. So I think however much money it is, 30,000-40,000 a year. I don't think it's a group you want to antagonize, so that maybe what are you talking about? 10, 12 people right now? 10 or 12 people, that's what we're talking about. Having a beer or a burger or whatever. I don't get it, so.
Is there any other discussion? If not, let's call for the vote. All in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
One opposed. You have it, Cezanne?
Yes.
Okay, let's move along. Event reservations. Who's going, Mark or John, who's going to introduce this?
I'll introduce it. Get back to the new business. Okay. A motion to allow homeowners to make reservations when they open at 14 days and non-residents can make make reservations at 12 days, effective January 1st.
Okay, I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, Lucy seconds.
To make homeowners?
Let's have a discussion.
We don't want them in the.
All right,
I thought I heard that it's not always 14 days. Should we state it such that 48 hours after, make it general in case it's to cover the events that we open more than 14 days?
Okay,
And it worded such that, I haven't got the wording, but worded basically that non-residents have to wait 48 hours after the opening before they can make reservation. Since it's not always 14 days.
right.
okay.
So does
Great,
that, your children are here and you wanted to bring them up for dinner, you could make a reservation for yourself, but not your family members, the non-resident?
No,
Sure.
no,
No,
Bring anybody you
Those
want.
would be
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
They would.
Yes,
homeowners can bring anybody at any time.
yeah.
Even if they're guests or
I
non-resident
know.
tennis members.
I don't
I'd advertise that.
think non-residents.
But a non-resident specifically wouldn't be able to.
Unless you don't want to pay for your kids.
But that would be a raise.
Really? I mean, people do that? People don't do that?
I'll make a comment here. My first allegiance and loyalty is to the residents of the community. I love the non-resident tennis members, very close friends, many of them. But I've heard over and over again in the chat sessions, this inability to access events and the false claim that the non-residents usurp their seats at the table in whatever event. Is it true? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But it's the perception out there that I'm reacting to. And in every chat session I have attended, and I attend multiple chat sessions in each one of the neighborhoods, and I hear that over and over again. And I feel my duty is to be responsive to those residents first. So with that, do we have any other discussion?
I think we're gonna cause some confusion if we make it 14 and 12, if you tell me they're not always 14.
They are.
We need to change that wording.
They're,
to
48 hours, 48
afterwards.
hours.
they're a month,
We got it.
they're a month for Valentine's and
48 hours prior to any event.
No,
Something
not
like-
prior to
The
any
sign
of
up.
48 hours.
48 hours after the
homeowners.
residents.
After homeowners. She's
To allow homeowners to make reservations when they open, I put in parentheses, typically 14 days prior to the event, event excluding such as New Year's and Valentine's Day. And non-residents can make a reservation 48 hours after the reservation's open for homeowners.
Yep, that's what yep, that's what I said. Yep.
Perfect.
well,
Good, I'll make-
not exactly, John.
Ken Swallen, are you good with that?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I'm not happy to address this until we get final sign off on legal. Seems like that's up in the air and some people are saying, go ahead and do it, and we don't know. I don't think there's any rush to do it if we feel we get.
I think if you vote on it, what we'll do is we'll get a hold of Jason ASAP and have it go in, we can have it go into effect as of in January 1st if you want.
Yes.
Or what, pending,
Again,
pending approval of the attorney.
I'd rather err in favor of the residents than our non-residents.
Totally agree.
Okay,
Actually, when I first moved into Sterling Oaks, it was that way. There was a lag
Yeah.
between residents and non-residents making
That
reservations.
might answer your legal question right there. It would have been illegal then too.
We'll check it out.
Yep, Mark will check it out.
okay,
I remember it very much.
let's call for the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, you have it, Cezanne?
Snyder and Sanders oppose. Okay.
Right. Okay,
And Coyle.
Well, Coyle's abstained, right?
Coyle
Aye.
approved. Well, he abstained, yeah.
We're not letting you vote for him.
No,
Come on.
All right, what do you have, Cezanne, for the vote?
I have, there's 7 of you left, right?
Should be 8.
So a 6-2. So motion passes, but we are
Pending,
pending legal
Legal.
review.
Yeah,
pending
okay.
legal review.
Okay, back gate access, residents only. Mark, get us caught up.
So I went to our software company that manages the gate access controls and the control systems throughout the access, pool, et cetera, fitness. And I said, can you make back gates resident only if you have non-residents in the database? Can you stop them from going through one gate and not the other, since they kind of use the same parameters? He said, yes.
So it's physically possible.
So it's physically possible. He goes, you want me to do that? I go, wait. He was like, so it sounds like he can go in.
It's the same setup, like the membership cards working at the
Yeah.
pool gate. It doesn't matter. It's just another type of thing.
Yeah.
So we would just change the
Paul, can I
status.
comment? I would agree with what Paul said. I don't think it's gonna make a huge difference either way, but it has been brought up a lot, and I think showing our residents we are listening and reacting to their concerns, it would be a good thing to do. And people come in the front gate, obviously, they're not gonna be accessing the whole development because the tennis courts are right in the front. I don't think there's gonna be a huge difference either way, but again, I think it's goodwill to our residents to go ahead with this, and that's how I'm gonna vote.
Yeah, again, in the chat sessions, we hear this over and over again, the number of vehicles in the community, the lack of parking, access to parking. And as Mark kicked off his report earlier today, the concern about speeding, about traffic in that area, and here's an opportunity to deal with that. Again, I'd rather favor our residents, and they're telling us this over and over again in the chat sessions, that there are too many vehicles. The perception is
Right.
that the non-resident members are invading the community, essentially. That's the perception. We know that's not true, but here's an opportunity to reduce traffic and reduce speeding. And I think that would be a good thing, and I think the residents would appreciate that.
Is there a motion made?
John Mulligan made the motion. Right, John?
I have a question.
You're
You're muted, John.
Can't hear you. Still,
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Okay, I'll make the motion if you want. Okay,
oh, I thought you did already.
that was for first two.
Or did you?
Motion to change the entrance access at the back gate off Old 41 to residents only. No tennis or social members entrance access effective January 1st.
Is it just the membership or, wait, is it just the members or is it also services that come through the back gate?
There's no service.
Services can't get in the back gate.
No,
Now.
Nobody can-
Well, they're
Okay.
not supposed.
Well, you need well, they can sneak in, but they need a barcode to get in the back gate
Right, for
Okay.
the same reasons,
for the same reason.
same reasons.
Thank you.
Lynn,
Go out, but they can't come in.
Anybody can go out, yeah. So you're not gonna totally fix it. You're gonna fix half of it.
I've got a question.
Oh,
How can we give out 850 in 2 months when our total non-resident membership is 300? There's only 20 or 30 maybe that are new every month. I don't know.
Those aren't 850 different barcodes. Those are how many times the gate.
The what?
Scan.
Those are how many times the gate opened for a non-resident barcode.
might come in 3 times a week.
We have people coming and going 2 and 3 times, sometimes a day, at least 2 and 3 times a week.
Oh, okay, that's the number of openings.
Oh, yeah,
Still is significant.
that's a lot.
Well, question here, point of view.
Do we have a
We're
second?
looking at 2 months.
Yeah, I did.
January and February, a total 850. That's 14 per day.
Yeah.
14 cars. I'll be generous and say maybe not all the way 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock they can't get in anyway. Maybe it's clustered more till the morning. That's not a lot of cars.
Yeah,
I don't, all of a sudden it's like, it's the same thing about all the people that were in the pool that were, oh, I've never seen that person. They must be a non-resident tenants member. Is somebody sitting out there on Sanctuary Point Drive, taking pictures of cars and license plates and saying, boy, that non-resident's here all the time. I think this is ridiculous, honestly. It's a problem that we're looking for a solution to something that's not a problem. I think it's an utter waste of time.
I'm gonna make a comment that will go to you.
yeah, I'm sorry.
It may be insignificant and it won't affect the non-residents that much. But I think it will have an impact on our residents in as much as the board is making an effort to listen to them, number one, and do something, number two. Browning.
I agree with Rick. First of all, January and February are season months. That's only 14 a day during season. At non-season, it's probably a third of that, maybe it's 5. I've lived there by the back gate for 16 years now. I don't consider there's a speeding problem, but it's not the number of cars. I walk my dog 3 times a day. In the morning when I walk, I usually see 1 or 2 people coming in to play tennis at 8. It's just, and we just gave our non-members who are paying this fee the right to attend events because they want that. I don't think they'll be very happy if you live up here in Bonita Springs, you're used coming in the back gate. Now they have to go down to the light, turn a right, go up, get on 41, come in the main gate. For 14 a day or 5 a day during the summer, I don't see it a problem. And I think we could create a problem as far as people, oh, this is another thing they took away from us. I paid this, I got the barcode, and now I can't use the barcode.
Well, it's gonna push
more
people to the
important-
main gate anyway, you're just you're moving that traffic to the main gate.
Yeah.
There's more problems out here
Yeah.
today than there is there. I go through that gate 2 or 3 times a day. I lived on that corner for 3 years. Yes, there's one guy that's speeding who has a Maserati, but he happened to live at the end of Sanctuary Point Drive. These were not non-resident tennis
Yeah,
members.
the speeding problems are residents.
Yeah, I mean, and
I mean, no more than-
maybe Mark's solution is better putting another speed hump over there if you're concerned about speeding.
Well-
But this is like,
That's
leave it
my
an elephant
concern.
run.
That's my concern, putting another speed bump in there. I'm not saying this is going to resolve the issue. But I think what's more important to me is what my neighbors think rather than what the non-residents think. That's my concern.
I mean,
Hey, I have my hand up.
Yeah,
go ahead, Barbara.
Lucy, go ahead.
Sorry, Lydia. I know it doesn't affect the entire community, but knowing people who live on Sterling Oaks Drive, it is a contentious issue for them. I know you say it's only 14 cars, but it's 14 less cars. And there's a probability that they won't go out the back gate if they're getting accustomed to coming in through the front gate. And really, why should they have to come through the community to use just the tennis courts? And I'm sure if they put themselves as residents in the homes there, they would understand. I think it's important to Paul's point earlier is if it's only 14, then it's only 14, but it's important that the residents feel heard. And I read all those comments from the survey, and we need to listen.
Well, I might add that the front gate is a disaster waiting to happen out there. People from the condos, especially in season, crossing that walkway to get over with 2 lanes of traffic coming in, 2 lanes here, traffic going out, people, bicycles going out. I just can't see why splitting the traffic a little bit by having a few that come in the back gate would do anything for any good for anybody. I think what we got out here is a real problem. People coming in, turning into the pool, turning into the club, turning into the tennis parking lot. You know, it's like going to a buffet and then 48 people standing in line and some smart person decided to put 2 lines instead of 1. It seems to me that back gate was a blessing to have people coming in and out.
Well, I attend multiple chat sessions and the residents seem to think otherwise.
Well, they should be concerned with people's lives out here walking across that street and kids.
Let me make a comment. People making statements. The only neighborhood that has homes going into the back gate from Sterling Oaks Boulevard is Sanctuary Point. There are no other the homes at the other end, Wildcat and those. They're all in Sanctuary Point. I haven't had a chat session. I've lived there 16 years and walked my dog. I know everybody almost on that, not everybody, but at least half of those. I've never had a single person tell me there were too many cars. I've had people complain about the speeding, okay? I haven't seen, and I tell you what, the speeding gets worse when the residents show up in the January, February, March. In other words, I don't see near the speeding problems in all seasons I do. So I don't know who Lucy knows on Sterling Oaks who complains, but I live in, I'm the only one on the board that lives on that section that we're talking about is affected. No, you don't live on Sterling Oaks.
Okay.
I don't,
But
but you haven't had a chat session, so how do you know for
I'm
sure?
the only one on the board that lives there. I don't see the problem. I think it's gonna irritate people who have to go around the loop and get on the 41. I think we're.
John, did you have your hand up, John?
Solving a problem.
Did you have your hand?
Yeah, I just agree with you guys that this should be done, and
Just a minute, let me, I'll go to you after I make a comment with Brown. In all due respect to you, I think you just set yourself up because you said you did not have a chat session. I think if you had one, you would be hearing this. Because I've been to multiple chat sessions throughout the community. I've heard it over and over again. So let's go to John.
Wait a minute, I didn't set myself up. I chat with my neighbors all the time. And I've been there 16 years and I know them. I don't need a chat section to talk to them, okay?
Okay, John?
no, I just agree with you guys. I think this will help, and to go to Brownie or Rick's point, it's only 14 people or 5 in the summertime. Okay, well then, not that many people are gonna be pissed off then, and if
Right.
it helps the community, then that's good.
Right. Okay, Lucy?
Just one more comment. It's not just the speeding, it's also, there's a lot of people that walk up and down that road. And often, and I run up and down that road, and often I have to wait for cars to pass because they won't, they have the right of way where there isn't a stop sign. So it interferes sometimes with the people who are walking their dogs or just taking a walk with their kids or whatever. Just less cars makes it just a nicer place to be.
Okay. Are we ready to vote? All in favor favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
Aye.
do you have the count, Cezanne?
Motion passes.
3, okay. Let's go to vehicle towing. Mark?
We are in discussion with our attorneys about how to have a towing company come in and tow the cars. One of the things that we're running into is the House bill. We don't know if there's anything in the new House bills that have anything to do with vehicles. We know how that new House bill says that it's okay if you have a pickup truck in your driveway and it happens to have your company's logo on it. That used to be no, and now it's yes. We know that we have the new House bill that says that if you've got something wrong and the board decides to fine you, that you have an appeal, and that if it has something to do with any remediation, that as long as you remediate that fact within the first 30 days, then the fine goes away. So we're trying to figure out what's the best way to attack the problematic individuals that continually park in the street. And the reason, in my understanding, is my understanding. The reason we don't want people parked on the street simply has to do with EMS vehicles having access to properties in the later hours of the evenings. In other words, if there's a crisis at XYZ address on a street and there's cars parked in front or up and down the street, does it make it hard for the emergency vehicle to access that area? Or maybe it's adjacent to a hydrant or nearby or something like that. And then that was our understanding about why cars shouldn't be parked in the street. That's my understanding. And so when I came on board here, the rule was no parking in the street. And if you are, you get a ticket. And if you get 2 or 3 tickets, you're going to get towed. So at that time, Morley's, who was were on the signs at the gates, because part of the HOA rules say that you have to signify who's the towing company that can tow. Morley's was a 24-hour operation. Now they seem to have dropped to a daytime, not a night, not a 24-hour operation. They don't tow after certain periods of time. They also, in the Florida law, made it so that you cannot have a tow company that is outside of a window of how many miles?
I think it's like 9.
9 miles away from your residences, that they can't, in other words, you can't get somebody, I can't get gator towing from East Fort Myers to tow down here and tow it back up there. It has to be within a 9 mile.
It's a very small
circle.
radius.
So there's very few towing companies that are in that little radius that want to do it. We also are calling those companies. A lot of them don't want to deal with HOAs simply because of the hassle dealing with the individual if they happen to see the car being towed, et cetera, et cetera. So we're trying to look at a way to make it, I guess, easier to ding the individual for parking in the street. And we don't know what that is other than it, because I don't think we can ticket them and levy them a fine. In other words, a parking ticket. And in order to clear that, you're gonna have to pay the $25 or the $50 for parking in there. And if you get a second one, it's 100 and et cetera, et cetera. I don't think we can legally do that because that's may fall under the fining premise from an HOA. So we're a little bit befuddled at this point in time on how to manage that operation.
Talk to Jason about it? Or
That's what we're trying to get something from
Yeah, I
him
would think that's the
to,
way to go.
you know, there's people that have put, you know, we've talked to other communities, they have a patrol that goes around with boots and they boot the car.
Boy.
And of course, then you
Justin Wildcat.
Yeah, just.
you can get,
Affect the
yeah,
cars
of course,
or whatever.
nobody wants to do that because they don't want to face somebody who with this has a large stick to stop them to do it.
Or guns.
Yeah, so anyways, that's our issue right now. We don't know how to get people towed off the street and we don't know a more efficient way to levy those,
I think this has to be tabled until we
Yeah.
hear back from.
I would get more.
the
I
attorney.
mean, we have, so here's an instance, and
They're
this is in,
right.
this is in Silver Strand. We have an individual in Silver Strand who is a pain in our butts. What they park a trailer, which is wrong. You're not allowed to park a trailer, a dump trailer, like a construction trailer, in your driveway. They block the trailer in by their car. You can't tow the car because it's okay to be in there, but you're supposed to be able to tow the trailer. So we write them emails, tickets, and they go like this because, and they thumb their nose in their face because there's no way for us to ding on them. And now if we took them to the board and said, you have been bad and you have parked this trailer in there and we are going to fine you and suspend your privileges for illegal parking. She gets 14 days to appeal and 30 days to cure. Also, you just take the trailer away for a day or two. It's gone, cured it, puts it back, and the process can start all over again. So the House bills that have been recently passed, some are good, and some probably are making a lot of property managers and boards a little bit crazy because they're allowing the individuals who are perpetual habitual offenders the opportunity to be that way on a consistent basis. So we'll get back to you if we have something for the next board meeting that helps us be a little stronger on managing that.
I need a little reaction from the board as to whether we should go down this road, how you feel about it, or if we should forget about it. So
Does it matter whether you got the car? I mean, I've got people who say when I'm backing out of my driveway, my neighbor down is parked right there. I can't even see if anybody's coming. Happens to be on Sanctuary where they speed going out the back gate. He goes, I'm looking, I see no one. I get past that car. I've got people screaming, putting on the brakes because they couldn't see me coming out of the driveway. And I couldn't see them because they're going 45 miles an hour. So that's another reason why cars parked in the street are kind of a pain as well. So I don't know how you want to do it.
Steve,
I would say just get an opinion from Jason and go forward, but it may not be an easy solution, but let's see what he's got to offer.
Lynn,
Yeah, my objection when I read this was the midnight time limit. We do have people that come and visit and stay for a while into the hours. And also, I didn't think the idea of any kind of getting an approval on, like if you've got a car that you need to have there till 2 a.m. or something. I know a lot of times you have people come in, they have a 1 o'clock flight, they have a late flight or early morning flight. You know, you can have cars out there at past, but midnight, that seemed like
That's in your rules, right?
That's
Yeah.
just in the rules and
I know
regs.
it is.
No, yeah.
but I always thought that was,
Or if you've had a few at your house because you partiers are up late and at 1 o'clock in the morning, you don't want to drive home, leave your car there because you don't want to drive on it.
well, we're in a good situation.
You
in the
and
condos,
Mully, you
some of the
know,
homes
getting
like
together.
Sanctuary,
Hey,
I mean, there are some people who don't have a lot of parking. You've got a short
You don't have 3
driveway.
drunk friends. You
So it's
can't have
okay.
one.
I don't know, that was my big objection.
Well, as I said, I'm gonna have to get more clarification from the attorney on what can and can't be done and how to manage it more effectively, so.
I'm confused, I don't understand why we can't put tickets and fine. We fine for having a spot on inspection, we fine for all kinds of other things.
So
We have the authority. I
new
don't
law-
understand why we can't fine.
New law means that we would have to, the board, like say I brought somebody to today that they were parking in the street or overnight. You guys approve a fine. So now we have to give them a 14-day notice to have a hearing with the compliance committee.
Yeah,
As
but
long as
we
they've
give them
taken,
notice.
as long as they've corrected the violation, they've removed their car from the street, we no longer can fine them.
You
Even
can't
if
fine
it's for
them
1
if
day.
they do it on the 10th.
Nope, No,
I mean-
I mean, even with a painting violation. I mean, as long as they have corrected the violation,
Within a 30-day period of
Well,
time
it's-
after it's been, the
No,
fine
much
is.
longer.
We might be able to tow them.
Yeah.
That's the whole
Right,
issue.
again, I think you
the
got,
whole fining process now
Is
is
that
Florida.
a new law then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So that's the same thing on our inspections.
Yes,
yeah,
If they get
Yeah.
it fixed, you can't fine them.
right.
correct, at all,
You
ever.
Probably are gonna end up where you can tow them, and then that's where my objection comes in with the 12 o'clock and the having to get permission.
Well,
Well, we do have people that we tell the guards not to ticket because like their driveway's getting painted or the
or
papers are
they
being
call us up and they say,
And they-
we're having a bunch of people over tonight, don't, you know, and some of them may stay over. Or I've got family time. We don't mind those.
I know
It's
that,
the habitual
It's the
offenders.
habitual
Right.
offenders that.
Exactly.
But
give
the
us-
issue is that the tow companies are not gonna come in here. Because one person might be parked in the street at 3 o'clock in the morning. If they were doing that, we wouldn't be here today. We need to get some sort of agreement with the tow company that at 12:05, you guys are allowed to come in here and
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 take the
clean the
car, and take the
roadways.
cars except for the ones that have the pink tags on them.
How many habitual offenders do we know of?
There's quite a few.
5, 10,
5 to 10.
but they park in the roadways and cause problems for their neighbors. That's the problem.
that's
It-
big.
and it's-
The
and it's
neighbors don't.
Been happening for a
Right,
while,
right.
so. And there's no punishment, so they just keep doing it. We're just trying to find
Yeah.
that end
I've
solution.
only noticed one in Sanctuary Point. Again, I'm up every morning walking my dog. There is one habitual offender in Sanctuary Point.
Mhm.
that I know of.
Drives their neighbors nuts.
Mhm.
John Mulligan.
Yeah, I agree. We want to get rid of these habitual people, do what we can to them, but I agree. We don't want to have carte blanche if somebody leaves a car out once and it gets towed. I think that's silly and ridiculous.
All right, let's move this item to the next meeting after we hear from Jason.
You got it.
Because maybe it's all moot. Okay, last item is social media. Mark?
This has been, I've kind of given you the information about this, I think before at the last meeting as well. I was asked to get, to try and find out whether or not any other local communities utilized an outside service for their, but they don't recruit non-resident members.
they don't have it.
Or if they do have non-resident members, it's because they're a country club that has a membership director in-house that's doing the work, and of course, they're paid to do their job, whether it's Pelican Isle Yacht Club or whatever it is. And so they have that infrastructure. We don't have that. So this would be a social media, and the reason it went from 15 to 18, because we wanted to make sure that we had the other Instagram and availability to hand in hand with Facebook and have the ad campaign appear on both of those sites. And this would assist us in outside private parties, non-resident memberships, and also private community access for if people are in Minnesota or Delaware looking for communities that have amenities like ours with tennis and pickleball and whatever, that this would be a great place to come in and live. So it serves for real estate as well. So it'd be a multi-pronged attack. We don't have a Facebook page that's Sterling Oaks Facebook page that has that intent right now. We have a Facebook page that a homeowner has that he's working with to help out with the tennis program, but it's not a sanctioned page by us, nor is it monitored, nor is it managed. What is that coming from? I think it's from those. Why don't you if you turn off your mic, I think
Solar flare.
it could be, so.
It's a drone.
New Jersey drone. Just hold down the button there for a second. There you go. So, as I said before, it's on a 30-day contract basis. 30 days, we can, I think that, we should try it at least for 6 to 8 months. If we get 2 or 3 memberships, we will get 2 or 3, 1 or 2 parties out of it. It pays for itself. I think it's a worthwhile enterprise. It beats having to hire a fairly expensive individual to sit them in the house and to have them do nothing but try to work on a Facebook page all day. This is something that can be done professionally. They'll give us all the analytics, all of the hits, what's happening, who's been there, what kind of interest has been done. We can also, once we have any of those, they can be funneled into the tennis office and to Nicole's office for tennis or for food and beverage operations. So.
Mark, do we have any connection with, I know the parties are big, that's where you make the money. Because if you pay $1,800 a month for this, you're gonna have to get 10 members to even break even. And then 10 new tennis members at 2,000, because you're paying almost 2,000 a month.
Correct.
Or a wedding, or a wedding.
That's my point. Are we hooked in any way with wedding planners here, which is a big business here in Naples?
Nicole's got her fingers in all of that stuff. She's got it with all of those different David's Bridal, all of those other things have got our information out there. This is just going to be a broader net and a more consistent, and I think a more professional basis that if somebody does say something, Facebook is going to attack them with their
That's where I
bots.
think the money will be there.
One wedding could.
Yeah, it's just that we don't have anything
I know we are,
to help us with the tennis program other than word of mouth right now.
right.
And this is, I just wanted, I
We're
thought,
gonna make the money on the parties and the weddings.
I think so.
Yeah.
So, and it's a lot cheaper, less expensive than having an individual here in the house to try to manage membership possibilities. Those people are close to 6 figures, so.
Because frankly, all the real estate companies here have broad social networks.
Yep.
We're on every site, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sites. So the word is out there about Sterling Oaks.
Right.
But as far as parties and weddings, like you might see one advertised at the Vineyards on Facebook, but that's all,
Right. Yeah.
I think it's a great idea for that.
Okay.
For the
Well-
parties and weddings.
Steve,
I think it's pretty insignificant amount of money. It's worth a shot. See what happens, give it a couple months and
Yep.
reevaluate it and see where we are. Could be a wonderful thing. Not a whole lot of money.
Ronnie,
So this is basically really advertising, right?
It's utilizing social media to get our face out there.
Who's gonna control, who's gonna be able to write on this and put stuff? I mean, I worry
It's
about
not
a liability.
None,
Let's say somebody puts something on there that
they,
Media
that
caffeine.
we get
handles
sued
that.
for.
this company will manage those.
They do it for you. and
Yeah, they take it off. They will
But it's
redo it.
basically for advertising, though.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not a
not
blog.
It's not a chat session. It's not a blog. It's not.
It's influencers.
Yeah, that's right.
Advertising,
That's it.
marketing,
Yeah.
and public
It's,
relations.
that's right. That's it.
okay, the day is getting short.
Is there a
And
motion?
And will, like you, who will look at what they put on there and okay it.
I will get, once this gets up and running, probably by, I would say, January, February, March, probably March, I will have the statistics that and analytics that they will give us on hits, all of the stuff, the feedback, where the things have come from, all the SEO stuff that we want to look for, that search engine
So I
optimization.
mean, you'll give them input on what you want on there.
We're gonna also probably
Oh,
give
yes.
them, if they're gonna have access to our website, to our pictures. We'll be able to take pictures down at the courts, on pickleball, at dining establishments, things like that, the nighttime parties, all that gets posted up into Facebook and they'll
Okay, I'm
manage
going to
those.
look for a motion and a second right after I hear from John Mullen.
Okay, yeah, I agree with what Steve said. It's not that much money. I think it's a good thing, especially if we want to try to keep the tennis program where it's at. This can only help. And.
Is that a
get some-
motion?
Make a motion, John. Make
Okay,
a
all
motion.
right. I make a motion that we accept the contract from
What the-
Media Caffeine.
Media Caffeine that on a monthly basis.
I second.
Got a second, okay. We'll call for the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next meeting is January
13th.
Ooh,
show and tell.
well, that's
Present.
presentation.
Next board meeting. Okay.
The next board meeting will be the 23rd.
Next meeting will be the 13th with show and fell. The next board meeting will be the 23rd of January, so we'll have a busy month. So with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Linda,
Sure.
Linda and Rick,
Oh,
thank you very much.
Lucy and Paul, will you guys approve the check run, please?
Yeah.
I will, but I was too busy with this meeting. I couldn't.
Lucy,
Should
it's
multi-
80 degrees here. What are you doing
I
all
was.
fun?
It's freezing here. I'm counting down.